now in late 2018, and actually again now in 2019 as we are looking at February 5th. I really found that I was getting overwhelmed with really everything I was doing. I was just not able to stay on top of all the projects I had, despite having like a good analog productivity system set up. And I followed a bullet journal. I even wrote a book totally on analog productivity, and there'll be a link to that in the description below. Despite all of that work, despite really knowing what I needed to do to have an analog productivity system that worked, I was just overwhelmed. It was failing. Nothing was happening well for me. And so that meant that I moved over to Things 3. That's right here. We'll bring it up on the screen in a second. And Things 3 really helped me have a good handle on what I was going to be doing with my projects for September 2018. And again, I used it for a bit and then I let it drop off a little bit, and it let me really dive into them again in 2019. So I could have a good handle on what I was doing, because right now I've got 2 major development clients going. I've got 1 content client where I'm helping them really vet their editorial process and talk to their customers. I've got 1 coaching agency that I'm working for where they're feeding me coaching clients. So I've got lots of coaching calls, and I've got three writing clients that I need to be writing stuff for. This is all over the next kind of 3 weeks that this stuff is all building up, and the end of January as well. What I did is, again, in September, and then again now, I came back to Things 3. Today, what we're going to go over is how Things 3 works. We're going to do sort of a review, not a full review. There are features I am not going to worry about. If there's anything on the Mac, not going to worry about it at all. But I'm going to focus on iOS, and I'm going to focus on the features that I use and the features that made Things 3 feel like it worked for me. Now, it's not that Things 3 is the best. OmniFocus is great. To Do is great. That's number 2. Do is a great option as well. There are lots of options out there that may be for you, that you may like even better than this, that there's lots of things. But I found that Things 3 was decent for me. It helped me get through the overwhelm and helped me stay organized for that month or two, and then I let it go to the side again because things come down enough that I prefer to just have the analog notebook. I actually think that it's a really good idea when I'm starting to feel overwhelmed, getting back to that analog notebook. I want to get back to the analog notebook because when I'm overwhelmed, it's showing me that I've just probably said yes to too much. So let's dive into Things 3. And one of the things I want to bring up about Things 3 is that they have a really nice overview feature. I screen capped it when I reinstalled it on my iPad, and I'll overlay that here for a bit. And they had a nice walkthrough of what was happening, how Things 3 worked, and just everything about Things 3. So that you didn't just start off and be like, here's this vast wasteland of things I'm not sure about. You had a good idea of where to get started. Something else I've actually kept this project for is Meet Things iOS. You can see I've completed a few of the projects or the tasks in here, but they have a whole bunch of tasks for you to go through and check off so that you can really dig into Things 3 and you can get to know what it is. So try using things with Siri. You can use Siri to quickly add new tasks, and it tells you how to set it up. Enable the action extension, right? Here's how you do it. And they've actually given you a checklist in here. So this is what's called the checklist, the open Safari. At the bottom, tap the share button, tap more, all of that. So it's a really good way if you just go through this project, if you go through the intro and then go through this project, by the time you leave that, you'll really know how to use Things 3 on your iOS device. Do they have this for the Mac? I got no idea because, like I said, I don't use things on my Mac. I only use it on my iPad and on my iPhone. Any other app, any other thing that it can do on Mac is dead to me. Now, when I first got into Things 3, I actually was frustrated. So I'm going to hit Command-N right now. And you can say I have a new to-do. And so I type my new task and I hit Enter. I hit Command-N again and my second task. And I kept having this frustration, and I figured it out. We'll tell you this in a second. But that I couldn't jump into the next task that I wanted to add immediately. What if I have a series of tasks? Now in To Do, that's number 2, DO, there was a lightning icon at the top of your task. You tap that and then it would automatically add a second task. What I ended up finding is if I just hit Command-N again, I have a new task. So that was one thing, and something that I'll come back to a couple times is how good the keyboard shortcuts in Things 3 are. They're just stellar. I'm going to trash that, delete, and then I'm going to delete this as well. And why don't we just take a quick peek at the shortcuts. So you hold Command to get all the shortcuts. You can see it right here. There's all of these shortcuts in there. I don't see one immediately for delete, so I'm just going to touch it again to delete the to-do. But you can do quick entry, and you can do it quite well by just continuing to press Command-N, 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 and you will continue to get new tasks. iOS, or like your iPhone without a keyboard, not quite so fast, because you do have to keep hitting the plus sign, but on your Mac or on your iPad where you can have a keyboard, and I use a keyboard with my iPad 99% of the time, quite good. One other thing that Things 3 does do that it doesn't do, OmniFocus lets you nest tasks kind of as deep as you want, but Things 3 does not allow me to have like task nesting. What it does allow me to do though is have my checklist, right? And so if we go to our command or hold command to see our shortcut keys, you can see Shift Command C is going to add a checklist. So this is my item. I'm sure why don't I need socks? I need pants and a hat because it's cold. So you can nest them like this. There's actually a couple other ways that you can deal with tasks. I'm just going to resolve that one. That you can deal with tasks and the way you can add things in Things 3. So you can say I have some areas, right? Content clients, coaching content. So these are all areas, and you can get to that by pressing New List in the bottom corner. It's going to give you two options. You have your new project or your new area. So an area for me is a business admin, and a project is, we'll go with follow-up, right? So that's a project follow-up. There's nothing in there, although I could show you the logged items. These are the things that I've done already, and say they were done January 28th. Some of November, you can see the gap that I have in my usage of Things 3, hide logged items. So that's the three ways you can kind of organize it. You can have an area, you can have a checklist, or you can have a project. Now, some people might like a deeper nesting. What I've done when I needed to have deeper nesting of tasks, I've actually created an area, say for a client, and then I have one client in each individual site got its own project, and then I could, or each individual project got its own project. So like for a client site, when I had to like install a plugin and do like 5 other things with it, I'd create its own little project and then make the items tasks, and then I would kind of complete that project for that client all in one shot. Now they had multiple sites, so I'd prefix the projects with which site I was working on as well, just to keep it all clear to me. Now, something Things 3 has had, I'm not sure how long, but for a while, is tags. Now, OmniFocus just got this in the latest version. They had context. So context was a person, place, or thing that you had to have around to do the task. And that was kind of limiting because we have like a phone in my pocket. I answered a few emails when my daughter skated just to deal with some of those things. So I don't necessarily need to be at email to do it. I can do email anywhere. So instead we have tags, right? And I actually don't use tags a ton. I have some education stuff that I was using. These are kind of old, a lot of them. But errands, so if I'm out doing errands, the idea is that if you tag things as errands, even if they're across different projects, so say I'm building a shelf as one project, groceries another project, if they're all under errands, I could tap the errands tag, and then I could look through and I'd see all the errands I have to run that could be run, and then I could go do like multiple errands at once because I'm in the errand context. So you can do this in anything. You can see I have nested tags here under education. Let's see, do I have anything for kids right now? Oh, we selected that. So I could add kids, and then if I searched for that, it would have, this would show up under my kids tag for any education resources that I've tracked that had to do with kids. Now, one of the things I missed when I wasn't using Things 3 was my daily routines. And we're on my routine project now. I did a video about this before, so I'm going to share that video with you as well. But I do kind of three main things. And I have my daily house shutdown. So this is like all the stuff I have to do. You can see I have a checklist in here. Put dishes away, give my daughter some medicine so she goes to bed calmly because she is also on some other medicine that means she doesn't run into the traffic but also keeps her up. Make sure coffee's ready, sweep the floor, all these things, right? I have a daily work shutdown task as well. I'm going to clear my things inbox, do 15 push-ups, that stuff. And then Thursday nights, for the all-important pizza night, I have these things as well to make sure I have the ingredients for pizza. Now I use this, and this is really the only thing that I let things notify me on at 2:30 for the daily work shutdown. It says today at 2:30, it's going to say, hey, shut work down. Just so that I remember it, I have the half hour because I have to be done at 3 to shut down work properly. For daily house shutdown, again, this goes at 9 p.m. It reminds me that I need to shut the house down if I haven't done that already. No, my daily house shutdown, I'll do stuff like check the laundry, make sure there's no laundry in the machine when I finish at the end of the day, right? I walk through laundries through my door and I'll just double check to make sure there's no laundry in the machine. If there's no laundry in the machine, then I check it off right away. That's fine, right? Garbage and recycling, I just quick open the doors. Nope, I don't need to deal with it. Close them, keep going. And that's how I use routines, and that's the only notification that I let Things 3 give me is for the routines. That's it. There is no other notification in this. I don't like notifications. They often distract you from the work you should be doing instead of like letting you really focus. At least that's what I found. So all of my devices are pretty much notification free. Now to access the repeating tasks thing, if we go here, I'm going to hit Shift Command R, and you can see I have my repeat. There's multiple intervals you can have. You can do it after completion, which is what I do regularly. So this means whether or not it's completed, you're just going to keep repeating. You can add deadlines, add reminders. You can add lots of stuff here, right? You can say month, year, how many days you want, everything. So that's how you create a one. And now if I'm going to cancel that, you also can create it by pressing this little 3 dots in the bottom. 3 dots in the bottom. See, this is why I can remember the task, because it's not in there, because it's hard to find. So that's actually one thing that I found is hard. Maybe that's because it's already repeating task. Let's go daily house shutdown, press that. It's still share. So I have no idea how to repeat the task from this. So as you can see right here, you can see my repeating task. So let's look at a new task and then let's go that. Now we can hit repeat. So the reason I couldn't do it before is because I already had that task set as repeating. So now from the little 3 dots, I can hit repeat. Now, one of the problems that I have found in Things 3 is that unless you are on a Mac, you cannot attach files to this. So the workaround that I found is I attach a file to Bear, and then I grab the Bear note link and put the Bear note link into the notes field in this, right? So I'd go like that. I'd say this is a task. I'd switch over to Bear. Sure, I can grab this one. It doesn't matter. I would hit more, and then I would copy link to note, because it have, let's say, a PDF file in it or something, and then I'd go like that and paste it in. And so now when I open this task, I can actually press the link note, I'll open it, and I'm back to Bear, which is great. But that is less than ideal. What I really want is to be able to attach a file directly into Things so that I can see it wherever I am. Now, one of the other annoyances I've found with Things is the share sheet. So let me just grab this random email, and oh, it says I can't find it now, so let's grab something else. There you go, this podcast email. So I'm going to share it off to Things. Hello WP podcast, that's fine, all good. We have a little bit of information here. I can set a start date, which is okay, but doesn't actually say start date anywhere in Things 3. It says when, so like when you should start it, and deadline, like it has to be done at this certain time, but there's no start anywhere. So that's unfortunate. And I can change it to the email, embed the whole email, or I can do it as a link. Here's where the problem comes though. I'm gonna hit save, and in theory I'm churning through a bunch of emails, and I have to do something with it, and actually should follow up on this podcast. So let's do that, follow up on podcast, great. So I'm gonna hit save. In theory I'd jump to the next email, but it's pulled me in here. And so if I hit Command Tab again, you can see the next thing is Things, because that's just what I was in, but it would be like whatever app, like Things hasn't actually shown up. And the email, my email app, Spark, is actually back one, so I have to go back. Now I can get back into it. Now I can actually archive this email that I have. So that is one of the issues that I found with it, and I'm not sure if this is on the Things side or on the Spark side or anything. Now, if I want to put something from Bear, here's another example. So let's go to the Bear share, more. Here we go. Share, and share it to, no, Things isn't even in here yet, is it? There's another, it took me a while to find Things at first. Share in there this way, or Things in here this way. Got a lot of stuff clearly in here. You can see to do is in there. I don't even have a way to send it to Things. So that's actually an issue for me, because I don't, how would I share this to Things at this point? I can't. So I would have to do what? Something else? Is there anything else? I can go here, share from that way maybe. I don't think that's going to work either. Nope. I don't see Things in this anywhere. So I can't share from Bear to Things. Now what I remember and what I have in my notes is actually that I could share to Bear from Things, and it had a much longer sheet for me to fill out. But I don't have that here. Now if I share an email, let's grab this email, I'll share that to Bear. It does give me more to fill out. You see it's got a more complete set of, I guess, metadata I can add here. It would be nice to have some more stuff for Things 3. It'd be nice to have some more integration. And again, I'm not sure which side this is on, whether it's on the Things 3 side or on the Spark side. Either way, I'd like to see more with this. Now sync. Sync was a big thing in the old version. Like I had the original version of things when it was like on my iPod, which I incidentally just shredded yesterday. And syncing had to do like over Wi-Fi or via a cable, and it worked at the time, but it wasn't stellar. And the reality is that Things 3 took forever to get synced. They were like so far behind the ball that I'd totally given up on the company as being really worthwhile. Like they were actually going to do anything about it. But now we have Things 3 Cloud, Things Cloud. You can see that I have this right here. I've turned it on. I'm syncing between devices. It's fast. Like it is quite fast. I'm surprised about how fast it is. I'm surprised because I'd come from, I guess I'd been testing To Do, and I thought about doing a review on To Do, but I didn't have a lot of nice things to say about it, so I won't be reviewing it. And even here I can mail things into Things as well. You can't even attach a file that way though. Like I can't attach a file and then have it show up in Things because I mailed it in. There's just no file attachments, whatever, unless you're on Mac and can drop the file in. And then I guess you can see it through to the iOS version, but I've never actually had it. So Things 3 Sync, great. Use the Things Cloud, great. There's no extra fee as far as I can tell. I don't remember paying one. I looked through my Apple subscriptions recently. I didn't pay anything for it. So that's great. And when you turn on Things Cloud, you can also do the email stuff, and you get a special email address. I'm not going to dive in there so you don't see mine because I don't want a bunch of crap in there. But then you actually have a way to get tasks into Things when you don't have Things directly on hand. Well, like I say, I have it on my phone as well, so I'm not sure when you wouldn't have it in. Maybe have an automation service when you get a new order, it automatically dumps into Things and into a different project or something like that. But that is there for you. Now I mentioned already deadline and when, and so we have those. If I don't understand how it works very well from like this view right here. I don't know what to do with it really. So I don't know, like if I hit the calendar, am I dealing with a deadline or a when? It says when, but what about deadlines? I don't know how to deal with that. So if you actually hold the command key again, you can see that when is Command S and set deadline is Shift Command D. And so what this means is that when is kind of like their start date when you want to be working on it, and deadline is this is like the drop dead date. And that's how you do it. And it also deals with your notifications a bit, right? Deadlines are going to give you more notifications. A when it just kind of says, hey, I got a task now, and it shows up in your inbox. Right? And you don't see this today, but there'd be even generally be like a gold bar up here. No, you don't see it here either. But there'd be like a bar like this is just what you did. Now, one of the nice things I really like about Things 3 is this evening. So you can see I've got some task for this evening already. Invite one of my daughter's friends over, get the skating videos to another friend, and then the daily house shutdown. Now, you guys haven't figured this out, but unfortunately this evening, what I find, this is my daily house shutdown, always comes up as today. And I hit done, and so that means it's up here. But what it really should be every day is it always should be in this evening. But it's nice still to have like a spot where I can say, yeah, I'm going to do this evening. This is not like a work task. This is like more of a personal task. I'm just going to designate that by having it like outside of my general work hours. If there's a way that you can do a repeating task and have it come up in this evening all the time, love to know what that is. Now, one of the other things that's super useful in this is the search. If you want to find a task, find a project, find anything, you can really just hit Command F and you can start searching. So I know I have a thing with someone named Suzanne, and I can say, did I hear back from Suzanne, right? I can also, if I could look up all my Liquid web writing projects right now and find them all, have them all right there and know which ones are there. I can even see like what I'm going to invoice them for February. I have a task and I create a checklist with all like the articles I finished. And then I'll have I'll repeat that task for later to show me when I have to follow up with them. Like, did they pay this invoice? Well, I'll do that with the due date once I send it. So this is all good, and the search is really powerful. I really don't find that I need perspectives. Perspective is something in OmniFocus that lets you like have a built-up search. So I'm looking for, say, errands, but only errands that are in this city or in a next city, and like have a perspective that you can build up. And it's really just a save search or save view into your tasks. And I don't find that I need that necessarily with Things 3. I haven't come across where I thought, oh, I wish I had perspectives from OmniFocus. It's just worked well, so it's been fine. I've been using it. Now, quick comment on design. Things 3 is pretty. It's got lots of cool features in it, and the animations are nice. You can see I hit select, like the animations are all nice. It all moves around very pretty, but honestly, I could care less about that. Could care less. A lot of people have written about this already, so I'm going to leave it at that. It's pretty, well designed, good app, great. Now, one of the best things that I find in Things, though, is the keyboard commands. I've already referenced a bunch of them. So if I hold Command, you can see that's just my quick ones right now. So it's showing me less, but if I hit Shift Command question mark, Shift Command question mark, it's going to pop me over to Safari, and it's going to give me like, here's all the stuff for iPad that you can do. Here's all the keyboard commands. They're well documented. It's excellent. I love that there are this many things, this much keyboard support in there. That's actually something that's lacking in so many different applications. There's just no keyboard support on the iPad. And I almost never, like I talk to a lot of people who use an iPad and they use it as a reading device, but they also, I talked to a lot of people who use it with a keyboard and they're using it at more like a Pro, more like a Mac desktop idea. Like I have mine, and you can probably see the top of my stand slightly, but I have mine in a stand propped up and I work on that almost all the time. I turned my computer on today because I thought I had a phone call, and then the phone call didn't happen. So I didn't even need to turn my computer on today. I was perfectly fine using my iPad for everything today. And I wish I didn't have to turn on my Mac, but I did. So overall, I like Things 3. Things 3 is an awesome app. I have been going back to it a few times now. Like I said, I used it from like September to maybe November. Over Christmas, I wasn't doing much work-wise. In fact, my bullet journal turned more into just like a daily journal. I didn't use it a lot to manage my tasks. I maybe wrote down some grocery list and took it with me, but I wasn't using it a lot because I just didn't need a project or task management system over the holidays. Hanging out with my family, I took 2 weeks off. I just hung out with them and did what we wanted to do every day. And I did some house chores. I had a list of house chores and I just dug through that as I needed to. It wasn't a big deal. And even coming into January, I was like, January is pretty good. Like there was no buildup of tasks like there is now. I didn't have to track a ton of stuff. So it just felt fine not to use any project management or task management application at all. But getting into busy again, I just needed something, and I went straight back to Things, and I was even waffling whether I'd finish this do this video or finish this review or do anything with it because I just wasn't sure what I'd do. I just wasn't sure how I'd do it or like what I'd show, or was I feel like am I really not using it? I'm just reviewing it to like be a YouTube app reviewer person. But I went back into it and it was really good. I even talked in my video last week in my February Plan With Me video about how I'm using Things 3 in combination with my bullet journal and how I'm using them both together. So I'm using a hybrid system right now, just how I do it and how I keep myself organized with the two systems without, saying that, whatever software is best or the book's the best or anything. They both have their purposes and they both do different things better than the other. So you use whatever you want. Things 3 is a very viable option. If you're looking for a great task manager, if you're looking for something that you can grow with, then Things 3 is a great option. I don't think there's anything you have to move off to some other task manager for. If you're happy in Things 3, then great. If you're not happy in Things 3, I would guess that more often than not, the problem is you. It's not the task manager. It's you not being focused, not doing reviews, not just using the task manager and keeping it up. Suddenly you look and you have 5,000 extra tasks. It's because you didn't keep it up. That has nothing to do with the task manager. You said yes to too much. You didn't follow up with your task manager and you didn't stay on track. Like the nice thing about a notebook though is that when you don't follow up and you don't do the review and all that stuff, they just fall off the back. They're on some page you're not looking at anymore. So it's not like an ever-building list of things you didn't do that just make you feel guilty. It's just gone. That's one of the good things. But like I said, when you're feeling overwhelmed and there's just a lot to go on, you really need to figure out your system, whether or not it's Things, whether or not it's Basecamp, whether or not it's OmniFocus or To-Do or whatever, to-do list, anything you want, then it doesn't really matter. As long as you find a tool that works for you, that helps you be productive. That's what you want. Thanks for watching. If you like the videos, you can support the channel by going to patreon.com/CurtisMcHale. And there you can sign up for one of the 2 memberships where we get some more interaction. You get to see some more insight into what I'm doing behind the scenes. You get the odd extra photo. You get some other content from me. And you get access to me as well. So if you join for the $15 a month membership, then we're going to do AMA episodes. And if we get people live, I'd love to do them live with you and really dig into what you're doing and how I can help you do your work better. Otherwise, if Patreon's not for you, click below, subscribe, join me for the rest of the stuff. We're going to talk about apps, we're going to talk about being productive on your iPad, we're going to talk about being productive as a dad and balancing that family and work life. And how do you do them both? How do you do them both well? How do you do work well without neglecting your family? And how do you, not neglect your family, but also, get things done, be productive and get stuff done for your clients day in, day out.